guys, and welcome back to another session of the Youth Festival podcast. As you already know, this is the platform where we have young people coming together to share their experiences and ideas while creating and nurturing a community for young creatives and professionals. My name is Engracia Ifakale Mofuman, your podcast. And today I have with me a gentleman. Hi.
Hi.
He's going to introduce himself and tell us a bit about what he does.
So my name is Kwame. I'm a freelance fashion blogger and writer. I'm the brain behind 90 Life Fashion Africa, which highlights the African fashion industry to the global world. And so we do interviews, we do storytelling, and many other things.
Wow, so you're mostly into fashion, into blogging, fashion blogging.
Yes,
right?
so I call it fashion journalism.
Fashion journalism.
Yeah.
That's great. And you do that only for Ghana or internationally?
So the idea is to capture the African fashion industry. So not just Ghana, but we are looking forward to penetrate into other countries as well.
So other African countries. That's
yeah.
Amazing.
Definitely.
And coming from Ghana, we are proud. We are proud. So we are here to know more about what you do. Is that the only thing you do, or you're into other things that you personally do? I'm sure you had gone to school and then you have an educational background. Can you tell us a bit about what you studied and how you ended up into fashion blogging?
Okay, so I'm a former student of the University of Ghana, Legon. I studied political science, geography, and resource development. And currently, I work as an executive assistant for a company called Stan. It's more like a part-time.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So you did political science.
Definitely.
Hey, political science and fashion, these are two different worlds. Or do they work hand in hand, or they are two different? Because to me, it sounds like politics and then fashion. They don't go hand in hand at all.
That's your thought. I believe that every industry works with fashion, because a political scientist definitely needs to look good to appear before any other person. And so I believe that although we live in a socially constructed environment, our appearance is the most important thing people are focused on before what we have in our head. They tend to look at what you look like, how you present yourself, before they get to know you as a person. So basically, fashion runs through every industry. Okay,
so it's more like address you by the way you address.
Definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
Right. So do you think that has had an influence on young people in Ghana recently? Because sometimes they say if you are going for a meeting or something of that sort, you need to look a particular way. And if you are going, probably having some braids, it means you don't look too professional, and you have to look in a particular way. You can have has nose rings, and some type of nails before going to a particular particular office space. Or what do you think about that? Is it something that should be looked at? Does it affect young people in any ways, or they should just go ahead with being themselves?
I just believe that every space and the kind of rules and regulations that runs through that particular space. And so if you find yourself in the banking sector, you need to dress accordingly. And so the young people should understand that they don't live in their own world. You live in a world that has been created, with various sectors. And so if you find yourself in an industry like the bank or the courts they do with they wear their wig and every other thing. So you have to just abide by the rules. But apart from that, you just have to be yourself. Even as a lawyer, you have to know when to wear what and when not to wear what.
Yeah. And where.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
And where. That's very important.
Yeah. Right. So you said you're into fashion blogging. How does that work for you?
And so we engage people all over the world. We just believe that the African fashion story hasn't been told enough. And so we are looking forward to capturing fashion events. About glitz, about rhythms on the runway, and many other events happening all over Ghana. And so our main goal is to just let the Western people know that there's an industry here in Ghana and it's very viable. And we also do documentary as well. We are, it's a huge brand, but as time goes on, it will unfold itself. Yeah.
Okay. So do you think there's an industry that young people should look forward to? Because nowadays people look at fashion and they're like, there's really nothing into it. Although we have a lot of people who are also into fashion as designers. Is it an industry that young people should actually tap into?
It's a huge industry. The young folks should actually look into delving into fashion. In our space, we don't take fashion seriously as we are supposed to. There's a huge income in fashion journalism outside Ghana. People tell stories centered around fashion. But do we have fashion journalists in Ghana? The communication space, do they teach about fashion journalism? And so fashion is big. We just look at the clothes, and we look at the people wearing the clothes, and we look at the people behind the production of the clothes. But it goes beyond that. Somebody has to put it out there for others to see. So that's the blogging. Somebody can actually gain something out of that. And by just marketing is also a different thing altogether. So the fashion industry is big. If the young folks will look into it very well, they can benefit a lot out of it.
You said there are a lot of stories behind fashion. What are those stories? I would like you to share with me.
Like Kantamanto. Okay. Kantamanto is I believe the center of Ghana is fashion. Because back in the days when we're trading exports and imports, they brought in the imported clothes, overused clothes, from the European countries into Ghana. So we have, you've been to Kantamanto before,
yes,
right? So you see what's the hustle and the bustle, people still here and there.
5 a.m.
And so you go there to collect, the best out of the best. And so it's an industry that people should just pay attention to. And like as I'm saying, the Kantamanto story, it started so many, like 1960 thereabouts. Who has told that story as it's supposed to be told? There's a whole lot of the colonialism aspect of it, how the Europeans came into the picture and other things. But we are not selling this. This is a huge story. If you document around this, it will make a lot of money. But we just focus on what we win. That is it.
But do you think that is an idea the Ministry of Tourism would like to probably embark on? Because I think most young people do not go into it because we already have the perspective that the Ministry of Tourism is only probably in support of what happens in December, the fun that we have in December and all that. Maybe the fashion part is not really considered. So do you think that this is something the Ministry of Tourism would like to be a part of?
Definitely, because we have the Free the Youth, and they've expanded over the years because of the diasporans. And so if you are bringing people into the country, tourism is a huge sector. I think the government hasn't exploited that industry well enough. If you are bringing people into the country and inviting them for events and other things, it opens up the avenue for them to see what we have. We keep talking about made in Ghana, made in Ghana, made in Ghana, made in Ghana. And our celebrities don't even wear made in Ghana as they are supposed to. And so if people are coming to the country and you're introducing them to brands like Sima Brew, you're introducing them to brands like I know German Blue. There are so many of them. Christy Brown is out there. She's a huge brand. People know her, but do they know her well enough? The government should invest into the industry. We need to go into commercial production. Like Free the Youth is doing well, but how many people know about them? They are just targeting the diasporans, and the diasporans are selling their goods for them. And so if the government would decide to invest into commercialized production, we will be competing with brands like Gucci and other brands like Louis Vuitton, because we see people wearing Louis Vuitton. You are wearing
Louis Vuitton right now.
I know, right? I know, I understand. It's something that we grew up, seeing people wear, so we tend to adore those brands. But do I have any Ghanaian brand that I adore? Like, oh my God, when you saw the Louis Vuitton, you're like, you're wearing Louis Vuitton. Is it fake or is it? But when you see a Ghanaian brand, you won't ask me that question. Will you?
Okay.
Will you?
Well, it depends.
It depends. With maybe if you know more about Christy Brown, then you can say.
Yes.
But do people even do copyright with Christy Brown's designs? It's barely there. So you see, the government should look at investing into individual. I know they've done so well with the vocational training, other things, it has done so because now people don't see fashion as like the second choice anymore. It's now the first choice. We have, university graduates who are delving into fashion design and other things. So, they've tried, but they can do better. They can do better.
Wow, yes, I think they can do better. But this is why we have this platform to have
Yeah,
people like you
definitely.
exactly expose things like this.
Definitely.
So thanks to the Youth Festival podcast, right? And we have you on
Kudos
board.
to the youth festival.
Right. So this is definitely going to be out there. It's going to be on social media. It's going to be posted. And if you are giving this platform right now to speak to the Minister of Tourism, what will you tell him?
Okay, so to the Minister of Tourism, I would like you to look deep into the fashion industry. There's so much in the industry that you can exploit to generate revenue for the government. And I know that you know what I'm talking about. So just talk to some of us, the young ones, who have brilliant ideas, and then we'll be able to help the sector grow.
Okay, that's okay. So please, Mr. Minister or anybody who is in charge, kindly listen to us.
Yeah.
This is an industry that we wish to see grow as well. As compare, you spoke about some brands in Ghana, right? If you have to compare the fashion industry in Ghana right now and the one outside, do you think that we have a future? Do you think that there's something good that's going to come out if actually they decide to put into it? If the ministries or people in charge, the investors decide to actually put it into fashion in Ghana?
I want to begin with fast fashion. We have brands like Zara, Shein, so many brands. Most of them are from China, and they are producing very fast, and they are making a lot of waves internationally or globally. And so, as I said earlier, if the minister could look into this industry very well, we can also have people who will be producing like the fast fashion brands that could sell, that could rub shoulders with the Zara, with the River Islands, and so many other brands. Apart from that, I just believe that we should contribute more. Yeah, we should try and wear the made in Ghana. If I'm getting your question right, made in Ghana. As you are promoting the chocolate and every other thing, we should also promote brands like Christy Brown.
No.
Christy Brown is very expensive. That's why I made mention of the fast fashion. People, how many of us can afford Christy Brown, right? But many people can afford Gucci, can afford Louis Vuitton. It's a luxury brand, so we understand that Christy Brown is a luxury brand, and it's rubbing shoulders with. It's a good. The quality. I know you've seen Christy Brown's products, and they have high quality. So I believe that if the government can highlight or can just try and then push them more, invest in them. Christy Brown, can you go into commercial production? How much do you need? Okay, so let's look at the industry in the US. Let's look at the industry in Paris. Then Christy Brown can come up with a good budget. And the government will benefit because to be a shareholder, you see, then you'll be making money. But I don't know about our government. I don't know whether they are shareholders in some of these private companies. If you are investing in Christy Brown, you and I know Christy Brown is traveling all the world, and so she's like, her brand is more like, it's something that the government can invest into, and it's going to yield viable results.
Okay. So I think that these are ways that they can actually go by to make sure the fashion industry in Ghana grows. So I'm sure you, as you do the blogging, you've been able to encounter models and designers. What are their feedbacks, and can you relate to their feedbacks when it comes to fashion in Ghana?
You're a model yourself, and you know the situations. Models are underpaid. So girls have to sell their bodies and do. In Ghana, it's so interesting that the government has a lot to do, because it looks like even in music videos, girls have to force themselves to be part of it, whilst they are not paid. I have to be part of Glitz Africa. I have to be part of Rhythms on the Runway just for the fame, just for a friend to see that, oh, you are part of this. What do you gain out of it? What does it bring? The exposure is the fun, but you need money as well to take care of yourself. And people will just want to sleep with you just to cast you for a runway event, which is very bad. And apart from that, as I said, the investments, they need money. money, Glitz will tell you that they need to expand. You've been to Glitz, you've been to Rhythms. They use the same runway, and then you compare it to other runways, and they're like, "You're a model. What do you think?" You're like, "Wow." I mean, I've not seen a runway that has moved me yet. They keep repeating the same thing over and over and over and over. And you go for the event and you're so tired, like what's new? But if they have the money, they can patronize other event centers or places, or they can create their own thing, come together with the graphic designers, do other things that can rub shoulders with huge fashion shows. So I think that it's more about the investment. Government should talk to them like the way they talk to the people in the movie industry, the people in the music industry. They should call the stakeholders in the fashion industry as well, listen to their challenges, and then find viable solutions to them.
Yes. I think that's the way they could as well go about it, right? But in as much as they also go about it, that just talk about models and then designers, but mostly models, what they face whenever they are called in shows, and then they have to put their bodies out there because you want the exposure, you want to be on the runway, you want to be seen, you want people to also know that you were on the runway, so you do everything it takes. Oh, it's very sad.
They will tell you that it's a stepping stone.
That's what the models will tell you.
They will tell you that's a stepping stone. So when you're exposed, another brand will look at you and they'll be like, okay, I want you to work for me. Right. So they are giving the platform to showcase yourself. And so they don't really think about your well-being. Sometimes you have to go on set with your own clothes and other things. I know you're a huge brand, but you've heard
by
some
God's
of the
grace.
things. And I don't know your struggles personally, but I think that some of these things that they have to go through all the time.
Definitely.
And it's bad.
Yes.
People are paid huge amounts of dollars to work on a runway. And our ladies are looking up to people like that. They're looking at the Kendalls, you're looking at the Naomi Campbells, you're looking at the huge models out there, and so you want to be like them, but you find yourself in an industry that wants you to do something else to get there. I'm not saying that they didn't have their challenges when we were starting, but I think that we've gone past that stage where you have to sell your body to. I mean, people are talented.
Yeah.
When they are trained well, they can make something out of
Do you
their
think that
lives.
it's something that has to do with their beliefs? Or if I may ask, what are your beliefs personally?
I just believe that your talent has to speak for you.
Okay.
If you are good at something, you need to work hard. That's the most important aspect of it.
Does it have to do with you being maybe a Christian or believing in a particular lifestyle, and maybe that's why you decide not to probably give out your self-esteem to be able to get a platform? Or maybe it's just because you decided to do it. Do you think it has to do with any belief?
Hey, with me, so you're asking for my beliefs. With me, I'm a Christian.
Okay.
So I strongly believe in the Bible.
Okay.
So I believe in denying myself, carrying my cross, and following Jesus.
Yeah. Sorry.
And so some of the things wouldn't make me happy, right? We are human. We can only be human. There are so many things that I want to do as a person, but I'm restricted because I'm a Christian.
Okay.
And I wouldn't complain because I believe in the better place, right?
Okay.
But I feel that generally we should have our own principles that should guide us. You shouldn't be sleeping around with just anybody. Do you get it? We all make mistakes sometimes and we learn from them. But will you continue to make the same mistakes over and over and over and over again? We get vulnerable at a point. When you are vulnerable, you grow. You don't play the victim, right?
Yeah.
It becomes part of your story. So your principles should guide you as you climb the ladder. If you made a mistake when climbing, you should know that you don't need that same mistake at the other stage. You build yourself very well, and then when you get there, people will be calling you like they're calling you now.
Right. Thank you for the words. Actually, I was about to ask you to give us some words of advice, but I think you just did it right now. I just have a personal question to ask. Right, you were talking about you being a Christian. Are you gay, or you are straight, or should I say who are you, or what are you?
That's a wonderful question. I believe, in our part of the world, we are not allowed to express ourselves freely.
Okay.
So you're like, even if somebody is, right, they wouldn't say it, right? But I said earlier that I'm a strong believer of the Bible.
Sure.
And so Corinthians tells me that God detests people who engage in such acts. And so I wouldn't do it. right? I wouldn't do it. If the Bible was put aside, I would do whatever I want to do with my life. But the Bible guides me.
So
And so
yes,
I'm not here strictly for myself, but there is somebody who is looking after me, and the person has set of rules. And so I wouldn't do what I want, but I would do what I have to do together. So it's a need,
okay.
not just what I want to do with my life.
Okay, so as a fashion journalist, I'm going to call you that way, yeah, because I believe you know a lot about fashion now, and I wanted to know, do you think that a doctor should dress in a particular way? I'm taking a doctor for instance, right? Because well, I have a friend that I met recently as well, and he looks. Once you see him, you cannot tell that he's a doctor. You know, he has piercings, he has tattoos. He looks totally different, and you know, our society. Once you appear in a particular way, you said we are being addressed by the way you dress, right? And once you appear particularly, and people are like, "Hey, this guy must know. Maybe he's not a serious guy. He's from Ashaiman. He's from Lima and all that." But then when he starts speaking, and then he tells you, "I'm a doctor," and you're like, you're even scared that, "Hey, you're a doctor. Are you sure you can do your work well?" So, do you think it has an influence on the people living around him or the space where he works at as a doctor, or is there a particular way a doctor should dress? A doctor, that is also a person, even if exactly.
So I just want to say that being a doctor doesn't mean that you don't have a personal life, right? You don't have a personal belief. At work, you are required to wear whatever you're supposed to wear, right? And I don't think in their profession it's a taboo to have tattoo on your skin. You are just there to help people with their health. But when you come out of your office, you should be allowed to do whatever makes you happy, right? So I don't really buy into the idea of listening to what people will say about you, right? You feel like having a tattoo, that's up to you, right? But in a bank, right? So maybe in this profession, it's clear that he's allowed to do that, to have piercings and other things. But in another industry, you don't need to have multiple piercings and have a tattoo on your skin and other things. So it depends on where you find yourself. But outside the work jurisdiction, when you come out, you're allowed to live your free life. I mean, they don't have a CCTV camera that watches you 24/7 or whatever it is. Right. So appearance is very important in every space. As you are well dressed for the interview, you are in the youth festival. You might not want to wear this, but because of the interview, you are in this.
Yes.
For the sake of the interview. And so I believe that wherever you find yourself, dress according to the rules or the norms there. Then when you come outside of it, you have your personal life. You can do whatever you want to do with yourself.
Yeah.
And it works.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. So now if I want to wear my miniskirt and walk in town, I should be allowed to do that. So
yeah, you should be allowed to do it. But in our space, right? Let me just share my personal belief with you.
Do.
I believe in decency. What's I mean, I'm not judging anybody, but what do you gain by exposing so much? What do you gain? People would tell you that, oh, I got inspired by somebody. I mean, don't you have your own mindset and what you believe in? I believe that most people with piercing and other things look up to people for inspiration, right? That I saw it and it looked nice, so let me also do it. It might not work for you. Do we get? Let's go with things that work for all of us, right? And then dressing in a certain way just to please people, just to show that you are also you, doesn't make sense to me. You know yourself. You know where you come from. Does it really make you happy at the end of the day? I don't care about what people think, right? But you, the individual, when they say all sort of things about you and you go home, do you feel comfortable? Are you able to sleep well? If you're able to sleep well, then you are good to go. But if you're not able to sleep well, then there's a problem. People say that people use fashion and beauty to cover up their insecurities, right? I mean, when you dress well, you look confident, you like it, right? But what are you covering? When they say you are covering your insecurity, what do they mean by that? People are going the extra mile to get lipo, to get, you can't take beauty from fashion, you can't take fashion from beauty. It goes hand in hand, right? They are doing the nose, they are doing, I mean, all sort of things, right? But at the end of it all, why are you doing it? That's the question I keep asking. So why would I do this? To make me feel extra confident or to I mean, makeup is enhancing your beauty. You're already a beautiful person. Even with your low cut, I mean, girl, you are a charm, right?
Thank you.
Know, but it's working for you, right? You know that maybe probably I don't know for you personally, but maybe the wig doesn't work for you necessarily. So you're like, okay, you didn't do it because I don't know, but you didn't do it because you saw the famous what's her name? There's this lady, the American lady, I've forgotten her name.
Okay.
But she is the one who set the trend for the low cuts.
Oh, okay.
Right? You know her. I think you know her. And you didn't do it because of her. You did it because maybe it works for me. It looks good, right? So I believe that you should just do things that works for them. Don't look at people. Don't look at the trend necessarily, right? Look at what works for you as an individual and just go with it, and you'll be okay.
Okay, on this note, I think we'll end with this. Thank you for these last words. And it was a pleasure to have you with us today. And then, guys, if you want to know more or you want to join us, please register. Bye.